While everyone's distracted with Bitcoin's crash to 108K, the mother of all supply shocks is silently accelerating. The ETFs led by Larry Fink's BlackRock bought 1,600 plus coins yesterday alone. That's 4 times the daily supply. Institutional demand is 7x the new supply this last year and two. And then we even have JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon himself saying the price should be higher. What's going on here? What is going on with the price? Today, we're going to be diving into all the new data. I got a lot of charts explaining what's going on. Essentially, all these charts are showing institutions are eating our lunch, guys. Institutions are scooping up so much Bitcoin. And retail, though I am going to wrap up today's show with some, a little bit of a troll on where we are in the market, retail is nowhere to be found, which is very interesting because, of course, Bitcoin is a grassroots movement, but the institutions are buying in bulk right now, and retail is nowhere to be found. It's getting crazy out there. Of course, I'm not alone. I got Chris here, the slightly higher IQ version of Opti here. So we got a good balanced show. Let's just start with the price. You guys probably saw it here, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you're like me and you didn't even know the price was dipping until you saw it on Twitter. But as we tweeted, buy the dip, guys. Bitcoin price dumped to 108K. What's going on is the real question here, and you guys can see it here. Look at this big old candle here. Don't mind my chart blowing here, but it looks like we're on resistance. Who knows? These lines move. I'm not here saying that the Bitcoin price cares about my lines. I'm just saying it went right back to my line here. Okay, all right. But we got a pretty good candle here. I'll do a little chart blowing for you guys. Who cares? It's Friday, right? It's Friday.
Price is not seen since 3 months ago.
Yeah. So just a little 4% dip. Price that we haven't seen since July, less than 4 months ago. Though it is interesting, we are back to the same price that we had in December. So literally all of our gains this year just completely erased. Dude, what a fun time. What a fun year. It's going to be really fun though, Chris. If we do get the rip that we think is coming Q3, Q4, end of Q3, Q4, we're going to look back at this price right now and be like, man, what a crazy year. It really, look, I know you weren't around 2017, but it really does remind me of 2017 vibes. Really slow beginning of the year and then a huge rip at the end of the year. And of course, everyone's speculating right now on this idea that these institutions buying Bitcoin, and I'm going to cover that in a minute. The institutions buying Bitcoin right now are really fundamentally changing what's going on in the market structure. And that could mean continuously grinding up into 2027. So who knows what's going on, man? But Chris, let's get a vibe check. How are you feeling today? We're poorer this morning, we're down, I don't know, 10% or so since the all-time high. Let's get a general vibe check, and then I will show you the charts, guys. I got a lot of charts here kind of explaining institutions eating our lunch right now. So Chris, floor is all yours.
Vibes are high. I mean, it was very funny, Opti. I know we talked off air like probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you're like, yeah, I feel richer when we're above the 120 mark. I'm like, dude, it's only been in the 120 range for like 10 days in Bitcoin's history. And then we proceeded to only go down since we talked about 2 to 3 weeks ago.
This is true.
So I guess, that's a little bad. Like, not that I called the top there, but I guess I did. But that just means there's an opportunity to buy. And, I think your future self is going to thank you. Maybe not a year or 2 years, but definitely 4, 5, 10 years from now, yourself and your family and your generations of hopefully your legacy will thank you for like, whoa, grandpa or grandma bought at like, they bought at 108K. Now we're sitting over $2 million a coin or whatever it is in the future. So I definitely think this is an opportunity to buy the dip. Think like institutions. I know they're kicking our ass right now with stacking, but institutions love when price dips, especially, we've talked about this in the past years ago, that like MSNBC or like Fast Money or any of these shows, the Jim Cramers of the world are saying to buy when they're secretly selling onto retail. And then they're saying to sell when they're secretly buying into retail. So like they're always trying to manipulate markets. I honestly don't know. I mean, we have all these government agencies and they're supposed to protect retail investors. I know Opti is a big Gary Gensler stan, and maybe he's
a maxi, bro. He protected us from the dumps.
Maybe he was protecting us from the dumps. But I guess the one thing that I will say is like, you know, they're allowed to get away with this in this day and age. And so I guess it's buyer beware. But in the times when Bitcoin dumps, we know what it's going to do in the future. I just showed my wife that video because she didn't know what I was talking about. I know I've showed it to her at least twice, but in the video, it's like, don't buy Bitcoin. It's only going to crash. He's like, yeah, one time I bought Bitcoin. It was at 30 cents and it went to $2.70. And then it crashed to $1. Then it went from $1 and went all the way up to $100. And then it crashed down to $30. And so, you know, and then he does this whole thing and basically just showing that Bitcoin's only going up over time. But then he ends the video, of course, with tongue in cheek being like, don't buy Bitcoin because you know it's going to crash. As it's just showing the progression that over time, it ends up at higher highs and, you know, higher lows. So I just think that's the best way to go forward.
Yeah, I'm getting trolled because my hat's linty. Guys, I don't know why this hat gets so
guys, I try to keep it clean.
No, but you got the trucker hat one. This is different fabric, guys. This one, I don't know. It just attracts lint. All right, guys, quit trolling me. Dude, it's Friday. I can't take this much heat already. Okay, too much heat already. All right, anyways, everyone's saying, show me the charts. Okay. It's not really charts. I'm not really showing you charts, but we have a lot of data. River's been dropping a lot of really good data here to kind of keep us, I don't know, keep us focused on what's going on. And like I keep saying, I've been saying this for weeks, guys. Institutions are eating our lunch right now. And maybe you're in the chat, you're stacking, but as a whole, as a collective, the amount of Bitcoin that institutions are scooping up right now is insane. And retail, like I keep saying, to sleep at the wheel, even though it does seem like we are entering the mainstream conversation. And we're going to chat about this at the end of the show. Again, I'm going to kind of troll a little bit, but there's no retail bulk buying right now. This is not a market that is being moved by retail like it once was. We are no longer in the same world we used to be, guys, and the data is showing this. So first chart here by River is showing the average daily Bitcoin flows in 2025. And as you can see the tweet, businesses are absorbing Bitcoin at 4 times the rate it is mined. Again, 4 times, guys. So you know, I know there's a lot of speculation on whether the supply shock meme is real, but what we're seeing right now, these price levels are not sustainable when it comes to how much Bitcoin is being bought versus how much Bitcoin is coming into the new supply. Now, I know there is another factor in here because there is a lot of whales taking Bitcoin onto the exchanges, and that's probably what we're dealing with. But you can see, guys, like the Bitcoin treasury companies, the businesses scooping up Bitcoin, 4 times the rate of the daily mine. And remember, it's about 450 Bitcoin that's being mined a day, or rather released into the network a day, the new supply hitting, and they're buying 4 times that. Now, that's crazy. And again, just going further into this data, 1.3 million Bitcoin or $150 billion at current prices are being held by businesses. Companies are starting to catch on. Whether you think the Bitcoin treasury companies are a paper mining Ponzi scheme or however you want to frame it, the point remains the same. They want Bitcoin. The corporations are catching on to this idea that they need to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. Now, that doesn't mean every company is going to become a MicroStrategy and, you know, do ATMs and basically take out loans and issue Bitcoin per shares for their shareholders. But every company, it seems, is going to become a corporate Bitcoin treasury company. Now, that really just means every company will be holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And the data is continuously showing us that that is the case. Now, here is where it gets really crazy, because I have another, hopefully I brought it up. I've been looking for this chart, and I think I finally found it again. Yeah, I did. Okay. This is head of research at Bitwise. And he goes, funny how some analysts still think Bitcoin will top out in 2025, quote, because of the post-halving pattern, although institutional demand has already been almost 7 times larger than new supply. So you have corporate treasuries 4 times the daily supply buying that much Bitcoin. You have the institutional demand 7 times the supply. So I don't know if there's some overlap there, but if it's not, 10x the supply right now, I think we could kind of lean towards there is some overlap here. But you can see year to date, institutional demand 690,710 Bitcoin, and new supply is 109,072 Bitcoin. So there is a market dynamic here that is unbalanced. Essentially, the buy pressure coming on from a whole new capital, a whole new pool of capital coming into Bitcoin. At a certain point, this will break to the upside. Now, this is also what we're seeing from the ETFs. The US Bitcoin ETFs yesterday alone bought 1,620 Bitcoin. Again, compare that to the 450 Bitcoin that is mined a day. 3.6x the new supply. This is 4 straight days of inflows. Like, there is a lot of demand in the market right now, and it really is starting to kind of get back to what I've been saying about. It does seem like the OG whales, basically, you could say the OG manipulators of the market. It looks like they might be on their last breath here. This might be the last time they're going to fundamentally be able to move the markets like they are, especially if we see this floor of institutional demand coming into Bitcoin. If we see this continuous unlimited bid of buying pressure, there is no amount of Bitcoin. Well, there is. It's obviously hundreds and maybe million coins hitting the exchanges. But at the rate that we're seeing Bitcoin hit the exchanges right now, or rather being moved and being sold, at a certain point, there will be an influx, and these institutional demands are going to take us to the moon. So here's another one. Bitwise reports 28 new Bitcoin treasury companies bought 140,000 Bitcoin in July and August alone, equivalent to a whole year's of supply. All I'm hearing is, guys, I hate this meme, but there's not that much Bitcoin to go around if these institutional demands, corporate treasuries, Bitcoin treasury companies continue this basically unlimited buy pressure. If they have this unlimited buy bid right now, it's getting crazy. And I think this is just the beginning of the waterfall. This is probably the first or second domino to fall. The amount of interest coming into Bitcoin silently right now is incredible. We've never seen anything like this ever in the past. When I got into Bitcoin in 2020 or 2017, 2018, 2020 era, we were always saying institutional is coming. The institution's coming. The capital's coming, guys. They're going to save the bear market. Well, now we're here, and it does seem like they're doing, as I like to call it, the billionaire FUD playbook. They want the price lower. So maybe these whales aren't working alone. Maybe they're working in tandem here. Let's move the price down, make sure that whoever the people behind them get their position in Bitcoin, fully pack their bags, and then they can finally send it. Because the amount of buying right now, the amount of coin being scooped up is incredible. Yes, we've seen, I think it's been around roughly 150,000 coins hit the exchanges, but we're seeing 600,000, 700,000 coins being bought up. Now, that does lead us into the argument of paper Bitcoin. We have been speculating, or rather not speculating, but we have been a bit harsh on the idea that most of these companies are buying through Coinbase or Coinbase Premium. So maybe they aren't actually, quote unquote, buying new Bitcoin, and it's just kind of moving from one hand to the other behind the scenes, OTC. But here is where it gets crazy. And this was the chart I've been mentioning the last couple of days. This was in March, so I'm sure we have an updated version. But as our boy Robin said, retail is sleeping. While institutions are stacking up Bitcoin, there's further confirmation that the term buy Bitcoin is only at 9% of the Google trends, which was in 2017, while the market cap is now almost 10 times as high as 2017. That's why we will be at $1 million Bitcoin, and 90% of people won't even bother looking at Bitcoin. And what are we looking at here? 2024 change in Bitcoin ownership. This is just 2024. And I think this data has fundamentally probably been, leverage here. It's changed probably for the worse of institutions, funds, ETF, businesses, governments, and other people buying Bitcoin, and then individuals and retail selling Bitcoin. So these numbers are skewed, probably worse than they are now. But the institutions, is what I keep saying, are eating our lunch right now, guys. Now, I know, personally, I have no more fiat left. I'm basically paycheck to paycheck right now, just trying to survive. But man, if you are sitting on the sidelines with dollars or whatever your local currency is, and now is the time to be buying. Now is the time to be deploying your capital. Yes, you have a dip. As we know, this is buy the dip season. And again, I've been bringing up this report as well, but JP Morgan here, like the big boogeyman here, Jamie Dimon, one of the biggest critics of Bitcoin, is now having his analysts drop reports saying, this Bitcoin price is too low. you know, they're not even that bullish. They're like seeing upside to 126. So what? 2K above all-time high. Like, all right, cool story, bro. But we are seeing an incredible amount of wow, Nico's in the chat. Wow, Nico doesn't show up, but he hangs out in the chat. That's incredible. The amount of buy pressure we're seeing from institutions right now is dwarfing what individuals in retail are selling. So there will be a point here. There will be hopefully, I think it's soon. I think we're going to see it soon. Now, we are entering into September, which is historically a bad month for Bitcoin. And as we're seeing, it could probably be something similar. So, like, if you have money right now, if you have fiat on the sideline, if you have just cash flow coming in, I think the month of September is going to be a great stacking opportunity. And I've been telling my friend personally, like, you better be stacked up. You better have the position you want by October, because if it plays out how we've seen play out historically, October, aka Uptober, is probably going to be when things start ripping. So I would say you have about a month. You have a month now to deploy as much capital as you can. Right now is not the time to get shaken out, not the time to get disheartened about what's going on with the price. Now is the time to think of it like Bitcoin is on discount before it starts ripping, because I don't think that this dynamic that we're seeing right now from institutions versus retail or individuals can last that much longer. They're buying way too much Bitcoin, and it's got to rip. It totally has to rip. Okay, I've been ranting for a minute. Chris, I don't know if you've seen all this data here, but I'm leaving. Nico's out. Okay, Nico's out. I'm working, dude. I'm working. Anyways, Chris, what's your thoughts on this? Is the mother of all supply shocks a real meme, or are we just seeing a change in the new quote unquote Bitcoin buyer?
I definitely think, it does seem that the OG whales want to live a better lifestyle or a bigger lifestyle. So they've been selling obviously into the rise of Bitcoin. Obviously, we're seeing institutions scoop up Bitcoin. There is a lot of talk with all of this demand from institutions. The money is here. Why is price not ripping harder and faster than we have seen in the past? One, with OG selling, definitely. But then, I mean, I can't discount claims that there's potentially paper games being played. I'm not going to lie, Opti, one of my guilty pleasures, and I know you do this too, we watch the Wrecked bot on Twitter when people like leverage long 40x on Binance, and then they like, it wicks down, even though because they were leveraged long. And then all of a sudden someone levers up again, and then they continue to dip down. And then it's like, all right, now we're going to keep shorting, and then the shorts get blown out. So, you get blown up on both ends when you're using leverage. So use what the strategy that Opti and I use. This is not financial advice, but buy Bitcoin, take it into self-custody. This is the best and by sure the safest way to use Bitcoin. Much better than paper Bitcoin summer, much better than using 40x, 100x leverage on Binance. But yeah, I do think a lot of it is institutions are buying where a lot of the OGs are selling. And then, like I said, we can't discount paper games that are potentially being played. I think a lot of these paper games can happen because we have ETFs. We have Bitcoin treasury companies. It's like if they're promising this Bitcoin to the ETFs as well as the Bitcoin treasury companies, well, that's half the demand cut in half right there. And obviously, time will be the ultimate test of everything in there. Basically, liquidity. What's the old saying? The market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. So yeah, I just think that's a big thing.
Well, we could stay highly regarded longer than they can keep the price down. Hopefully. That was the old meme back in the day, but it seems like we are all out of cash. Like, remember the headlines? We've been saying this for months now. Like, the Bitcoin tourists have gone home. So essentially, everyone in the market right now are just Bitcoiners that have been around for longer. Like, we're the only ones left right now, because it's basically us versus like Larry Fink and Michael Saylor. Now, we don't have their capital here, but we should still be trying to buy as much Bitcoin as we can currently, because we're the only people here. Like, the corporate treasuries coming in, Larry Finks of the world, the Trumps of the world, the Sailors of the world, they are our new competitors in this game of Hungry Hippo, in this game of Pac-Man. Those are the people that we're competing with right now. Now, obviously, we don't have the deep pockets like they do, but hey, we can still get our little portion of the pie right now. But man, the institutions, the amount of buying we're seeing, it's really unprecedented. We haven't seen anything like it. And there's no retail here. Like, There, no, the buying volume right now on, if you're looking at any chart, like it's basically non-existent. It's dead. Like it's basically a desert out here. I think it's basically here. Actually, here, Chris, you go, and I'm gonna double check the volume with some dates here.
Yeah, and I guess one other thing that I could add, aside from the OGs selling Bitcoin to fund their lifestyle, I think things that's kind of under highlighted or not highlighted enough. A lot of the OGs maybe, I hate to say getting selfish, but like if you've had all these gains in Bitcoin and then you're not that you're worried, but you want to lock in gains, there's also the idea that they could be selling their Bitcoin to some of the Bitcoin treasury companies and exchange getting IOUs, well, and I don't have to call out any one company in particular, but it's just, hey, if you're going to pledge some of your Bitcoin to us, it goes on our treasury and we'll give you the stock certificates or basically the private equity or whatever it is, they're getting ownership of these companies. Obviously I view that as a riskier play. So that may not be the best move to do, but obviously it's their Bitcoin. They can do with it what they want. And they think that these treasury companies are going to have a NAV premium above what they can earn with Bitcoin. So they're risking some of their Bitcoin to try and beat Bitcoin's gains.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that you may be selling your Bitcoin at a higher risk. And obviously that comes with much more risk, third-party risk. It comes with custody risk. It comes with, business operation risk. So there's all these risks where it's much safer and, in my opinion, much easier to just buy Bitcoin, take it into self-custody. I know American Hodl was on a podcast recently, and he does a lot of private equity investments. So he's a perfect example of a whale that's been in the space a long time. And he's like, yeah, with all the work and all the stuff that I know about Bitcoin, I've only outperformed Bitcoin by 15% with my private equity investments. And it comes with way more risk. I've wasted way more time than spending it with his wife and his daughters. And he's like, it wasn't worth it. I'd rather have the time and freedom back and just buy Bitcoin and do that. But that's a risk that everyone needs to evaluate themselves.
Yeah, 100%. That's look. As much as I'm kind of not on the side, because if you're doing the paper Bitcoin summer meme, there's really only one place you're pointing to, and that's Coinbase. Now, do I think they're above doing some shenanigans? Like, no, but I don't think they're that dumb. I don't think they're going to, slay the golden goose here. And what I'm getting at is I don't think that Coinbase is fractional reserving their Bitcoin holdings, because as we all know, like Bitcoin will call your bluff eventually. And we've seen this happen with FTX, and we all know how big of a debacle that was. And like, they're a publicly traded company. They just got into the S&P 500. Now, I'm not saying there isn't historical precedent of a big company committing fraud a la Enron. We've seen this stuff happen in the past, but I still think it's very early in just the history and the market of Bitcoin, where I think they know better than that. And so I don't think the paper Bitcoin summer meme is necessarily like a fractional reserve, exchange, at least one of the top ones. Yes, there could be a small fractional reserve exchange that you probably have never heard about. But after the FTX, Celsius, BlockFi debacles, I don't think these, publicly traded exchanges are going to make that dumb of a move again. I think that kind of risk has been, I don't know, for better or worse, diluted in the current market that we're in. Now, will that happen in the future? Probably. There's a non-zero chance, but there is credence to the idea of paper Bitcoin summer in regards to futures, ETFs, derivatives, etc. Like, that is traditionally where the quote paper trading comes from. And so we do know that this is a part of the Bitcoin market. So like, yes, there's probably, a lot of paper in the market, but I think it is very smart to kind of differentiate what kind of paper we're talking about here. When most people talk about paper Bitcoin, we're talking about fractional reserve banking here. And, the meme, like, one day we're going to find out that there's 23 million Bitcoin instead of 21 million Bitcoin. And that'll explain why the price was being suppressed so much. But we do know, futures, ETFs, different kind of derivatives, options, etc. Like, those are pretty recent innovations, like options coming out of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Like, these are relatively new products that are being unleashed. And in other markets, this has basically been proven that this is paper Bitcoin. This is how they try to control the market. So I do believe in paper Bitcoin in that sense. Do I believe that like Coinbase is fractional reserve banking? No, like I don't think they'd be that dumb. Though, you know, what do I know? They are one of the big shitcoin casinos out here. So they could be playing some dumb games out there. But I think after the FTX debacle, no big exchange is doing that. Like maybe a small one you've never heard in some jurisdiction that, you know, has like 1,000 coins or something like that. I think that's a possibility, but I don't think Coinbase is the one that is doing fractional reserve banking, though they could be just kind of moving around some holdings from somewhere and giving it to these exchanges like we've seen for some of these Bitcoin treasury companies, which could explain this, which I wanted to bring up. Like, I don't know if you guys look at the volumes on the markets here, and I am over here. This one's Bitstamp, so I'll use, you know, every chart I have here, but you can see, look at this volume here, guys. Like, it's dead since 2021. It's been basically non-existent. Like it's nothing. We're basically back to 2012 levels of Bitcoin buying. And I'll go over to Binance because it's basically, you know, it has the most liquidity out here. And again, like we haven't seen volumes like this since 2 years. It's the same volume that was in 2020. Like the volume is dead, guys. There is no one buying Bitcoin like it used to be. Now, does this mean that these corporations, these Bitcoin treasury companies aren't acquiring Bitcoin? No, I would probably say that they're the only ones that are buying Bitcoin and making any move on these volume charts here because it's not retail. Retail's been gone for a few years. It's been just us here. So once we see a new tidal wave of retail interest, retail FOMO, and I think might be in the beginning of it because I do have, you know, some stories here that is kind of making me feel like some top signals here to wrap up the show. We're going to troll a little bit. There's no volume. The retail's not here. Institutions are the only ones really buying this Bitcoin in bulk. All retail on Main Street is broke. And retail from Bitcoiners is broke because we have no more cash to buy Bitcoin. So I think now is a great time to be acquiring a position. I think September is probably going to be a red month here. But I'm if I was a betting man, it would be October is when we rip.
And I'll add one more caveat. Normally, I think even for the stock market, and historically, I'd have to double check this, but I'm pretty sure July and August are slow months because you think of it, a lot of times people are taking family vacations, school is, you know, not in session. With that being said, so a lot of times, like, you know, markets are flat to down because basically people are just living their lives. Once school starts back up and we kind of see September and then we see October for the foreseeable future. So I think that is in the cards.
Yeah, and also once everyone kind of goes home for the holidays is really when everyone's like terminally online. So again, you know, everyone goes home for the holidays. Finances do become more of the conversation. Yes, they got to buy gifts, etc. But then they're online and they're like, yeah, I just spent a bag on my family Christmas presents. How can I make some more money? And then we bombard them with the Bitcoin propaganda. So end of year, boys and girls, we are in it to win it. Okay, guys, let's keep it moving. I do have some good stuff for you. But before I move on, of course, smash the like button. Comment on this video on Rumble and YouTube. Do you like the show? Let us know what you think about the show. And of course, hit the subscriber button. We're super hyped on our 10K subs on Rumble. Shouts out to everyone that subscribed on YouTube. We have officially broke the 100K mark on YouTube. We got to get the Rumble numbers up to 100K. Then we'll start to feel really good about this. But shouts out to every single one of you guys. Sub to us. We appreciate you. And on that note, I do want to give a huge shout out to our boys over at Bitcoin Well, the best place to buy Bitcoin. And yes, guys, I see you in the chat. We'll make sure Adam reaches out to you guys. On that note, though, go to bitcoinwell.com/simply. Use the promo code simplybtc, and you will get 3 chances to win 1 million sats in the Bitcoin Wishing Well. The reason we love them is because it's automatic self-custody. They can never rug pull your Bitcoin. They have never rug pulled any Bitcoin. All the Bitcoin that's been bought from them has been sent directly to you. You need to have a Bitcoin wallet so that when they receive your fiat, it goes straight to you. This is the best way to buy Bitcoin. And then, of course, if you're watching this and you do have fiat on the sideline, go to the OTC tab, Get in touch with the Bitcoin Infinite Well team, and you can buy $50,000 or more from their OTC desk. This is the best way to get some bulk buys going through right now. Anyways, on that note, guys, let's get into the rest of the show.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, StampSeed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? StampSeed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates. Instead of just writing them down on paper, paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo, and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on StampSeed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store.
Yo, this comment is so good. Chris, Opti, you scammed us into a stable coin. I know, dude. I scammed myself into a stable coin, bro. I don't know what's going on right now. Anyways, we're over here on Clark Moody's dashboard. The current Bitcoin price is 108,540. Wow, it's on a 12% discount right now, guys. 12% discount on Bitcoin. If you like it at all-time high, you should love it at a 12% discount. And we're currently at block height of 912,275, and the market cap, wow, dude, we're barely holding on to the $2 trillion market cap. That's crazy. 2.16 trillion. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. What a dip. It's a 5% dip, 4% dip, and it's like, wow, man, we really do feel poor. Remember what we were saying, Chris? We've been at 120K plus for like 4 days. We've been above 100 for hundreds of days, and we're like, man, we're back at 100. We feel so poor. What's going on
Back
here?
in the poorhouse, dude. Need to sell the chairs again.
Yeah. Yo, Mexica. Thanks for the $20 super chat. I can't read that. I can't read that comment, but I appreciate it, brother. Okay. All right. So there was a Bitcoin conference in Hong Kong right now. Shouts out to Bitcoin Mag. They did another Bitcoin conference. And Eric Trump is getting stupidly bullish. Now, there is an interesting kind of side story here. I saw a news report. I'm going to play the clip for you guys right now, but I saw a news, I forget where it was coming from, but it was like Legacy Media. It was like Yahoo Finance or something. And it basically said that a few Hong Kong legislators, regulators, they were advised, or rather told, not to go to this Hong Kong Bitcoin conference because Eric Trump was there. And it really got me thinking about, remember when we were speculating what the countries were that is secretly buying 200K Bitcoin? And a few people in the chat, it's like, it's China. And I was telling you guys, it's like, there's no possible way that the Trump family is conversating with China or Hong Kong about their Bitcoin holdings. Well, now we got some information here that they're literally avoiding Trump here. So there, as I said, when we broke that news of 200K, there's like a megalodon out there just swimming in the darkness, scooping up thousands of coins right now that we are completely unaware of. So that was an interesting little side quest to kind of read this week. But on that note, let's just hear Eric Trump basically say, we are going to the moon.
You've got nation states that are buying the hell out of Bitcoin. You've got Fortune 500 companies that are buying the hell out of Bitcoin. I mean, you've got the biggest families. You've got the biggest companies on earth that believe in this digital store of value. Everybody wants Bitcoin. Everybody is buying Bitcoin. And that's an incredible thing, and that's why I've always said that I really believe in the next several years Bitcoin hits $1 million. There's no question Bitcoin hits $1 million. And when you're in the room with certain people, and I had breakfast this morning with, you know, a couple of the most powerful people in the region in the hospitality space, and you're literally sitting there trying to explain to them what digital currency is, you realize how early we all are to this race and how big of a benefit that is, right? I hear from people all the time, you know, should I get into cryptocurrency? Did I miss it? Am I too late? And I literally start laughing at them. I go, we haven't even scratched the surface of what Bitcoin is going to be. We haven't even scratched the surface of what digital assets are going to be. This is the time to buy. Volatility is your friend. Buy right now. Shut your eyes. Hold it for the next 5 years.
Let's go. Shut your eyes and smash buy. Hey, look, man. Shouts out to Eric Trump. He did recently just say he's a full-blown Bitcoin maxi, and he got super trolled on Twitter about it. But dude, he sounds like he's should be on Simply Bitcoin here. We literally said the same exact thing. Now, the interesting aspect of what Eric Trump says, you know, the first son here, is that, do you call him a first son? I don't know. Is that what you call him?
The eldest son, the oldest son.
Well, I meant like the president's son. Is that like, you know, it's like the first lady? Anyway,
prime minister's son, I think.
Prime. Wait, he's talking about the U.S. president.
Oh yeah. I thought you were talking about Hong Kong for a second. I thought, never mind.
No, okay. We had a brain fart live. The interesting aspect of this is, look, from our perspective, we cover the news every single day, so we aren't privy to these private conversations. But what we do see privately is confirming exactly what Eric Trump is saying. The institutions are buying. I just laid out all the numbers for you. You know, 7 times the total, the mine daily supply. They've been buying, you know, basically like 2 years worth of supply currently. We have the U.S. at least rhetorically embracing Bitcoin. We're seeing Middle East countries stack Bitcoin, potentially some countries that we don't even know about stacking really huge positions in Bitcoin. The ETFs taking a lot of Bitcoin into their products. It's like, I agree with him. It does feel like we are still early. Now, I know it's hard to say that, like you're at 100K Bitcoin. How could you be early? But I always fall back on my very left side of the bell curve heuristic here. It's like, go outside and talk to normies. Go or just talk to your family. How many of them understand what is going on? I would argue very few, if not no one. So I also agree. We're very early. And I think we're even early this year. Like, I think the end of the year, it's where we get the fireworks. Maybe we're going to get some New Year's fireworks here, not just the ones at Times Square.
Yeah.
But the green ones on the chart.
I'll add to that, Opti. Like, I mean, what people in the investing world are like in TradFi, like they always talk about their 10x bags or 10 baggers, or I know that's more like, you know, like the GameStop memes of it all. Oh, like this is my 10 bagger and stuff like that. But to your point, being early, like we can almost guarantee that Bitcoin's going to 10x, because right now the market cap of Bitcoin's about 2.1. Gold's market cap is $23.2 trillion. So, I mean, that's a 10x alone, just going to gold. And we know Bitcoin's a better version of gold. It's more, more easily divisible. It's easier to port. It's faster. It's all these different things, faster and cheaper to transact, and all these different things. And that doesn't even include the negative yielding debt that is US bonds, or even just bonds for any of these countries in the world. So I just think that like it's still okay to say we're early. Like I can almost guarantee with certainty that we are going to 10x from here. And that's just the beginning, because that doesn't even account for the literally tens, if not hundreds of trillions of negative yielding bonds in the world. Like, why would I have gold when I can have Bitcoin, which is, is a better form of money? Why would I hold bonds over Bitcoin, which is way better than bonds? So I don't know. That's just my opinion on it.
No, I mean, you reminded me. So I had literally, out of all of my friends, I probably have, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 friends that ever actually listened to me about buying Bitcoin, and they are extremely happy about that. But I had a conversation with my buddy, and I'm super happy for him. You know, he's got a new job. He seems to be doing really well. And he was telling me how like he has a 401k for the first time. And, you know, I'm like, congrats, man. Like that's awesome. Having a safety net. Good for you. In my head, I didn't really want to have like an argument and tell him what to do with his life. He's one of my really good friends. In my head, I'm like, you should be buying Bitcoin. But the conversation eventually ended to Bitcoin. And I was telling him, it's like, look, and that was before the dump. I basically told him what I told you guys on the show. It's like, look, if you have some capital right now and you think you might get a little lower price, maybe deploy a little capital in the next week or so. And then if you get a good price point, deploy all of the capital you have. But by October, you should probably get a position in this. And I was kind of explaining to him all the different dynamics that we're seeing right now, because he really just like trusted me, bought a little bit, go lives his life, doesn't pay attention to the news. And then I'll talk to him every once in a while. And I was telling him, like, dude, it's like the news is crazy around Bitcoin, like Larry Finks, the Jamie Dimons, the Trumps of the world are embracing Bitcoin. He's like, damn, okay, like things have really fundamentally changed in the last year or two. And I was telling him, like, yeah, like the market's been kind of down. It's only been like a 30% increase year to date. And he like stopped me. He's like, dude, that's still better than what like my Roth IRA are doing or 1K are doing. Like, that's incredible. And I'm like, yeah, but like 30% is really nothing. He's like, yeah, whatever. Like, that's better than anything else. He's like, the little amount of money I put into Bitcoin when you told me to do it, he's like, it's outperformed everything else in my other portfolios. And he's like, I really wish my dad didn't talk me out of not going all in on Bitcoin. I'm like, dude, don't listen to the boomers about this. They don't know where this is going. So I hit two things. Confirm what you said and also a little boomer hate. Shouts out to the Bitcoin boomers in the chat, though.
Although I'll do some boomer optimism here. The best is when boomers that you orange pill and they get it, and they're like, and they're not in the Bitcoin space. So like boomers that are just like your friend, they're just kind of like bought a little Bitcoin and they're like, wait, this got me like 88% over the last year, or this only got me 30%. They're like, that's way better than my bonds, my stocks, my real estate, like all these other things. Are like, more of this, like the boomers that are like really orange pilled and they're like more normie-esque or, don't really follow the Bitcoin news at all. They're like, you're telling me this is a bad year? I'd hate to see a great year. They're just going to be like, just making it rain their fiat and the bonds that they do own.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, we're so jaded here. Like a 10x since 2017 or something, or 2018, something like that. It might even be higher. What, like 3K to 120K? That's you don't get this type of return to anywhere else. Now, if you go back to the beginning of 2017, it's even higher. In the last 5 years, it's been pretty like a 5x or so like that. And here we are, 2025. We're just expecting the bull run, parabolic run of the bull run, and we're like, dude, 30% gains. Like, this is horrible. Even though if it does do that, we're on track still for a third. Well, hold on. Before today, we were on track for that 30% CAGR, but yeah, I don't know. We just erased all of that. So let's see. Even if we just get 30% back for the whole year, it's still better than anything else. Now, for us, it means nothing. You're like 30%, like whatever, dude. I didn't get into this to just barely outbeat the S&P 500. I want to completely demolish everyone on Wall Street and show them that left side of the bell curve wins. We don't need these, quote unquote money geniuses to control my finances. We are cutting out the middleman. So anyways,
you're saying barely beat the S&P. The S&P's only had 15% over the last year. 30% is double that. But I know these are these are little gains. These are tiny gains.
That's what, dude, a measly 15%. That's barely beating the S&P 500. I want to beat it by like 200+%. Okay, then we can talk about really taking Wall Street here. But 30% every year is fine. Yeah, except for we just erased our 30% increase for the year, boys. It's over. No, it's not. It's not. All right, guys, let's get into the news. There is some interesting news here. I don't know. It's definitely bullish, but maybe not for the right reasons. Anyways, let's cover the news.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 5-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io Simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones, they don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store.
Yo, crazy reality check here. Jake Thomas, Bitcoin flashback. 1 year ago, we were at 59K. Man, remember 58K? That was fun. Are we going back? Maybe that's the poll. Are we ever going back to 58K? Anyway,
yeah, I know we were only talking on year to date, only being up 30%, but like, yeah, the 1 year chart, we're up 82%. So, I mean, that just gives you some context.
Well, in that case, I guess, what is it? 67% increase over S&P 500. Yeah, that feels a little better. But
the S&P is only up 10% year to date, but it's up 15% over the year. So yeah, we're crushing.
Well, we'll take. We'll say we're crushing them. In boomer eyes, we are crushing them. In traditional financial eyes, we are crushing them. So we'll take that. Anyways, as I was saying, we did get some interesting news coming out of the CFTC, Commodities Futures and Trading Commission. Now, this might be a little niche, kind of nerdy stuff, and maybe no one really cares, but it is interesting news. Again, this all kind of leads to this idea that the U.S. is embracing Bitcoin heavily. Every institution, not just the Trump administration, not just the SEC, but also the CFTC. And there is a lot of debate, and we really don't know yet, like which institution, and hold your tomatoes here, but which institution has jurisdiction or overview over Bitcoin right now? The SEC has claims, the CFTC has claims. They both claim they do, and they probably both do in certain scenarios because there hasn't been any clear kind of guidelines. But we did get this press release yesterday. So the acting chairman, FAM, announces FBOT advisory to provide regulatory clarity for non-U.S. exchanges. So the CFTC today issued an advisory regarding the Foreign Board of Trade registration framework for non-U.S. entities legally organized and operating outside the United States that seek to provide persons physically located in the United States with direct market access to their trading platforms. The CFTC's FBOT registration framework applies to all markets, regardless of asset class, and includes both traditional and digital asset markets. Today, the FBOT advisory provides the regulatory clarity needed to legally onshore trading activity that was driven out of the United States due to the unprecedented regulation by enforcement approach of the past several years. That's the big kahuna here, because remember what Gary Gensler was saying. We're doing regulation by enforcement, basically like, you don't know what's going on until you basically, get a slap on the wrist here, and you do something that you think is legal, and then they tell you it's illegal after the fact, and you're like, I was following these rules, and they're like, yeah, well, this is regulation by enforcement, so we can basically make up whatever we want here, and you're in trouble now, and you're fined, or you're a criminal. So it does look like there is some new, favorable laws here going on. Now, am I hopeful that whatever they do propose as the law is going to be necessarily beneficial? Probably not. But it does seem to be a 180 on the precedent that we've seen before. Now, what's this mean for you? Jokingly, basically, now you can finally, 100x long on Binance. But while I was saying that, it really reminds me of, the fact that Arthur Hayes of BitMEX was a criminal for so long. They came after him. He did get pardoned by Trump. And now it seems like BitMEX is seemingly going to be a legal exchange now, even though they've been on the Seychelles. Is that Seychelles?
The Seychelles, yeah.
Yeah, then so they haven't been in the U.S. You historically needed to have a VPN. Well, you couldn't use the platform first and foremost. Legally, you don't use the platform, but metaphorically, hypothetically, if you use the VPN, they weren't really checking, and that's why they got a fine, and Arthur Hayes had to step down. Well, now it looks like these offshore exchanges will be able to service U.S. customers. So, I mean, I think that's a good thing. Now, do I think you should go on these platforms and 100x long, 500x long your $100 in Bitcoin? Maybe for fun, but don't do it with your whole bag. Now, hey, 100x long coming back to the US. You gotta love it. Full degen status as we go into the bull run. What could go wrong, Chris? What could go wrong?
Yeah, I guess I'll add to that. I do think it is like we've talked about this before. It's a little bit like the carrot and the stick. Like the U.S. is welcoming them to service U.S. customers, but it's going to come with a bunch of stipulations like, hey, we want you to KYC people. We want you to do all these different things that are already in place. AML, KYC regulations from basically the Patriot Act in the early 2000s. With that being said, though, I know CK Christian Corollas now at
Human Rights Foundation.
Rights Foundation, thank you. And my old boss at Bitcoin Magazine, he brought this up back in 2022. BitMEX was basically the first company that was ever sanctioned by the U.S. government and the regulatory bodies that was able to operate under full sanctions from the U.S. government. And then even look at it in terms of like dissonance of like the Russian government. There was, the Human Rights Foundation or a bunch of nonprofits there that basically were working against Putin because they were calling him a dictator, which he is. And basically they were able to operate even though he sanctioned their bank accounts, tried to imprison a lot of them, take their bank accounts down, but they were operating on a Bitcoin standard. So even the strongest government in the world, some of the strongest dictators in the world aren't able to stop the power of Bitcoin. So even though BitMEX, they fully sanctioned them, there was no money to get because BitMEX operates on basically pairing Bitcoin with any of the other cryptocurrencies that they use. So obviously Opti and I are not advocating for using other cryptocurrencies, but basically instead of having a US dollar to a cryptocurrency peg, it was a Bitcoin peg, which when you think of it, is pretty ingenious. So obviously they're displaying in fiat currency what the value of it is in US dollars or any other currency. But since they're pegging everything to Bitcoin, nothing can be seized. Like their bank account didn't get seized. And I know part of that is like, the cleverness of that, or basically, obviously they eventually modified to use stable coins as well. So obviously there's risk there where if a stablecoin provider says, hey, you need to freeze these transactions, or even other cryptocurrencies where Bitcoin can't be stopped, but they were keeping the vast majority of their treasury in Bitcoin, which can't be stopped. So I just think that's pretty ingenious. Like they were the first company to get full sanctions from the US government, and they were able to keep operating through all of that. Obviously, Arthur Hayes and a lot of his other co-founders, a few of them saw jail time, fines, probation, stuff like that. But the exchange itself was able to keep operating even with their board of directors and executives being under the gun from the U.S. government. And they're still operating today. So, which is really crazy when you think about it. To wrap your mind around the power of Bitcoin and what that did for the company.
Yeah, totally. Like BitMEX, I love Arthur Hayes' writing. He's one of the best writers in the space, period. And I guess now that he's technically not at BitMEX, he can actually probably say a lot of, let it fly. Exactly. But there is 2 points there. One, like you said, BitMEX was able to skirt sanctions. Well, actually, sorry. I don't think I can say that, but was fully sanctioned and they couldn't shut him down. It was also one of the first exchanges to basically use Bitcoin as like the unit of account, which is like goated here. BitMEX is one of the legendary companies here, whether you 100x longed on BitMEX or not, they definitely deserve their flowers here. And now it's looking like all that whole saga that we all kind of lived through in the early days, it's being flipped 100% on its head. So interesting. And I am actually, I had some other stuff here, but we went a little long. Guys, it's Friday. I want to do a little trolling here. So I have a thought experiment for you guys, and you guys can tell me in the chats here. It is around mainstream adoption and are we topping? Because I'm starting to get the signals here, guys. They're starting to repeat themselves. We've seen this happen before, and it's terrifying. I really don't want to see us top out right now. Okay, this is all I'm saying. So let me go through some cultural memes in the moment, and yeah, they historically these are top signals. So I don't think we're there, but not feeling good. Anyways, let's get into the culture.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, bitcoinben.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Ben's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank, and you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys, tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth, and join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinben.io, join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
Okay, so pulse check, vibe check in the chat. Vibe check is that everyone is saying that we are not topping yet. All right, that's what they're saying. And then first rate cut in September will cause Bitcoin to look. I agree with this, though. I'm starting. My gut is telling me we're starting to see top of the market vibes here. Now, what am I talking about? Well, we saw this and we've seen this play out before. Vogue Business this morning.
Oh, no.
Yes. So Vogue Business. Vogue Business is tweeting about crypto or Bitcoin here. It's really crypto, but Bitcoin's a part of it. And we've seen this play out. So Gucci now, again, is tapping into the fashion crypto crowd. Apparently now, end of month, certain stores, you will be allowed to use crypto, Bitcoin and some shit coins to buy your Gucci clothes. Okay, that's my first, conspiracy theory. My data point here, my tinfoil hat moment going on. We have huge luxury fashion brands again starting to accept payments. We've seen this play out in the past. I don't know if I need to lay it all out for you. Next, we have Pete Davidson and Casey Affleck team up with Dong Lyman on a Bitcoin thriller film called Killing Satoshi. Satoshi, no one knows who he is. They are creating a movie, a conspiracy thriller that looks to unravel one of the most enduring mysteries of the 21st century, the secret identity of Nakamoto. So we have a luxury brands accepting Bitcoin for payments to buy their designer clothes. Now we have a Hollywood movie about trying to find the identity of the creator of Bitcoin. I feel like we've seen all these things happen before. And then this one is literally hilarious. This is like the funniest thing ever. We have e-girls from a spicy site that are talking about becoming millionaires or billionaires set up if they invest in shit coins. And here, let me know if you guys can hear this, because this is hilarious. And as you can see the tweet, help. Hopefully you hear this. Can you hear this, Chris?
Need help. Okay. Investing. Don't know what to do, what it is, but I need help. I need help. Okay, so I would recommend, so me personally, I have 1.3 million in XRP. So right now it's about $2 and something cents, but the community knows that when I know it will bump up to $10, I'm going to be basically set for life. So I would highly recommend buying XRP. Why are you crying? What the hell did you just say? XRP. It's. I couldn't even understand what X could even stand for. It doesn't stand for anything. It's just like, XRP doesn't stand for anything like explicitly. It's just like I'm screwed. Crypto men come this way. Help me. Just put money into XRP and then you're set for life. Put my money in it. Or just spend it all. Whatever you want to do. Well, will the IRS come after me if I, they won't come after me if I do that? You haven't paid taxes in 2 years, so they're going to come after you anyway. Not if I had my money in this XPR stuff. Right? Yeah, you're right. Just do that. Need help.
Okay.
I gotta add, I saw a clip from this podcast the other day, or like probably months ago, where the one girl she owed like hundreds of thousands, if not millions in taxes. And she's like, I didn't pay them. I'm like, and the other girl was like, what do you mean you didn't pay them? She's like, I haven't paid taxes. Like, how does that work? So that girl's cooked. And it's not just for buying shit coins. It's yeah, she's gonna have a lot bigger problems. You don't want to fuck around with the IRS, that's for sure.
Well, guys, I have 3 data points here, 3 cultural data points here that historically is top signals. Though, if you look at really like the Bitcoin indicators right now, none of the real indicators are topping out yet. So we have the new inverse opti here. We have e-girls shilling shit coins. We have luxury brands accepting Bitcoin and shit coins for payments. And we have Hollywood trying to find the identity of Bitcoin currently, guys. So the conversation is, have we entered into the mainstream conversation now? And we're just going to be dealing with this eternal September problem forever, where it's like Groundhog's Day forever. We just rehash the same things every other couple of years because new people come in. Or is this us, entering the cultural zeitgeist? Or are these top signals, boys? But if you've been around, these are historically some very good top signals. Okay,
Opti, like that myth that like celebrities die in threes. I think this is like the bull market dies in threes. E-girls shilling crypto. Hollywood movies about it. Random fashion brand incorporating Bitcoin and crypto into it. Opti, I think you're onto something here. Not a good sign, but
hey. Look, I said we're going to troll a little bit today. It's Friday. We're going to end this with some laughs.
We got to check the Google Trends because I remember you guys looked at that like 2 weeks ago, and I think we haven't reached the peak.
No, we haven't.
Since 2021 was the last time it was like really euphoric, I think. So
it's
been at least 4 years.
And remember, last cycle, what was it, 2021? Yeah, 2021. We had like Tom Brady being sponsored by crypto.com. We had Matt Damon doing crypto.com. I forget what. Yeah, FTX commercials. Like, we had celebrities creating their own shit coins, and like we're getting back to a very similar time. And I'm not saying this is actually a top signal, like I am trolling here, but these are top signals if I've ever seen them. So, guys, please help. If you can hear me, whales, can we really start sending this? And it's only going to get crazier. All right, so here's Google Trends. I'm actually going to do 2. We're going to do buy Bitcoin. You can see it is pretty dead. So 18, that's what, maybe November 2020 vibes, or October 2017 vibes. So based on the Google Trends here, Chris, I'm feeling a lot more bullish. I'm not gonna lie, those numbers are right before we get some parabolic retail pump. So let's go. Google Trends is on our side. Forget the e-girls.
What's the most recent peak? Not the third highest peak. So not the one from 2021, but what that one? Oh, that's probably right. Trump's winning the election. I think that's probably what that is.
That one.
No. The November one. November. He won the election in 2024.
Okay. That was 33. Bitcoin 33 post. I think that's what it is. and we're currently at 18. So we're not even, you know, we got a full double until we get back to the election.
Remove the Bitcoin term. I want to see just what the buy Bitcoin is, not that one. Remove the other one because buy Bitcoin's being hampered by yeah, there we go. Okay.
So November top. Where are we at? Dude, it's not working. Doesn't work for me.
It's okay. Yeah, that's like 100%.
We'll just go where we are. We'll just go where we are. So currently at 12. November, it was at 19. 2021, the last kind of bull run up, we were at 44, and I don't know. This isn't working for me. So
it's at
more
100%.
than 40. It's 100. So 2020 or 2017 vibes. What we have 12, 14. So look, man. That's making me feel even more bullish. You see this? So we're at the bear trap before the parabolic run. And we were like maybe mid-cycle of the 2021 pump. So we may be getting top signal indicators from the culture. But Google Trends is our friend, and we are still going to pump, guys. We are mid-pump here. So yes, don't get shaken out, guys. Do not get shaken out. Yeah. All right. Well, we made it to Friday, and I know I'm doing it, Chris. I know you guys have been yelling at me. We've been forgetting. We've been rug pulling you guys. And I didn't even tell you guys in the beginning of the show. But pull out your Lightning wallets. We're giving out free sats from our boys over at Bitcoin Well. Let me see. I'm logging in. Let me get this up. Hopefully the sats work. Okay, here we go. Get your Lightning wallets out. First come, first serve. And real life hack, if you go and watch on Rumble, I am pretty sure you most likely get the sats 1 second earlier. So here we go. Rumble, you go into your Bitcoin rewards, you hit the wishing well, and you have a chance to win 1,000,000 sats. Let's see. What is our lucky prize? 434 sats, generational wealth by 100. Let's go. All right. Actually, we'll do, let's see. If there's some unclaimed sats here, guys, you guys can claim them. If not, you're shit out of luck for today. But while we're waiting, I do want to give everyone a shout out on Orange Pill app. I've been getting a lot of love on it. Everyone loved my fitness. Oh, we have no sats here. You guys claimed it. Okay, so hey, shouts out to you guys claiming this. But like I was saying, I do want to give a shout out to everyone that messaged me on Orange Pill app. Shouts out to everyone over there. You guys are giving me some love, giving me some love with the journey I've had with my boy Sal and being his e-girl. I had a lot of people like, man, dude, you're getting bulky. You're getting swole, dude. You think I just speak about memes here, guys? I'm living the memes. I sold everything for Bitcoin. I quit all my work to go work in Bitcoin. I lived at my mom's basement to stack more Bitcoin. I drive a shitty old truck to stack more Bitcoin. And now that I have Bitcoin, actually, I don't have Bitcoin. Now that I don't have Bitcoin, I want to usher in these zero sats with style and longevity. If we do have the best money in the world, you got to be fit. You got to be around for a long time. So guys, really take your health seriously. We do the carnivore diet. I can't stick to the carnivore diet. I like bread and pasta. Sorry, guys.
Sue me.
I like carbs. Carbs are delicious, but I mainly eat steak and eggs and ground beef. That's like the bulk of my diet. But I live the memes, man. Stack sats, stay solvent, stay humble, eat good, usher in these sats for generational wealth. If we have generational wealth, guys, you got to be around for generations. So take it very seriously. I want everyone in the chat. There's the running meme, Chris, of Opti scams us into profits every single day because Nico freaks out every time I say that. He's like, we're not scamming. I'm like, dude, like you're too autistic. That's the point. Like we clickbait you into profits.
We're worse. We scammed him into a stable coin. So
yeah, that is worse. That is totally worse. But I really, and Ron P said it the other day. He's like, Opti actually cares about everyone in the chat. Look, you guys give me a lot of shit. You know, I love you guys in the chat. I appreciate it. I'll take all the feedback. But I think what would be super cool is if like 10 years from now, everyone that has ever listened to Simply Bitcoin is just super fit and super rich. And we're just like the best we've ever been. And it's literally because you guys sat around and trolled me on Simply Bitcoin. Like, I want the best for everyone that watches our show, which means I want you guys to save in Bitcoin and I want you guys to be healthy. So again, shouts out to everyone giving me love on Orange Pill app. It means a lot. Anyways, Chris, that's the show. It's Friday. It's Labor Day weekend. You know, guys, don't poison yourself too much this weekend, but you know, enjoy life a little bit. Eat, cook a steak, get outside, get some sun, maybe hang out by the pool. You know, like life's good, man. Even though the dip is dipping, buy the dip if you got money. Like it's a holiday weekend here in the U.S. And if you're not in the U.S., you know, do the same thing. Get a workout in, get a walk in, eat some good food. Call your mom, call your dad. You know, call your brother or sister, whoever you have in your family. Call your loved ones. Man, feels good. Anyways, I feel better now. You know, I was feeling really bad about the e-girls, but now I'm like, we're winning.
The only thing more scarce than Bitcoin is time. So using Optis, enjoy it, touch some grass, go tell your loved ones you love them. Yeah, I just say stay humble, stack sats, spend your time wisely, spend your sats wisely, or don't spend them at all. That's probably even better.
Yeah, someone said take creatine. I have some. I just never take it, dude. I'm all natural, okay? I'm all natural. I eat steak, all right? Okay. Yeah, totally agree, Chris. You know, actually, you got homework. Go watch In Time. Go watch In Time this weekend.
Ooh,
and remember,
it is
a Bitcoin movie, all right? All right, that's your homework for the weekend, boys and girls. Anyways, on that note, I love you guys. I will see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Have a good Labor Day. If you're in the U.S., we will be back on Monday for another show. Peace out, guys.
Peace out, guys.
Wrong one.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.